doing a different type of video. It's my first time making a tier list. And after making my regrets video, I was thinking like there's so many different types of regrets and so many things you can regret. It's actually a really interesting, like philosophical and deep topic. So what do, right? You make a tier list about it. All right. So here's how we're gonna rank this. So what I'm thinking now for the criteria is it's gonna be three primary things for the criteria because this is subjective. This is highly subjective. Your list will probably look very different from mine, but that's the beauty of things like this is that we can all talk about it. We can talk about what we think, what our different opinions are on this and everything like that, and it's completely fine, right? Nobody loses anything from this. So my three main criteria are most devastating, most common, and the permanence. If it has all three of those, then it goes in S tier. If it has it as a very high level. And for an S is most damaging overall. A is significant. B is like medium, it's gonna hurt, but it's not like crazy or anything like that. And C is mid tier, not that bad, maybe for some. And D is like least damaging. So what does that exactly mean? Because like for example, if something is common, very common, but it's not that damaging or not that devastating, it's not that permanent, that's not gonna be an S tier. It's probably not gonna be A tier. It can argue for a B or C, but yeah, that's just how I'm doing this ranking. If you guys have like something different that you think, feel free to tell me how you think a better way to do would be. And I would honestly either remake this or make this with different criteria, different scenarios. I think it would be really cool because I'm probably planning to make some more of these in the future because I think this is a really fun topic to cover and to go over. But all that said, let's get into it. So our first one is gonna be, you see that's director's cut. What do you think this is, right? I'll give you a second. That's right. You guessed it. It's not taking action, right? You know how they say action and they show it or whatever, right? I thought this one was a little clever, so I had to do that. I'm gonna be playing every single one of these pictures because I put a lot of effort into them, I would say. But all right, let's get this one. So not taking action, right? That's an easy S tier. Because not taking action can be one of the most devastating things. And it's also something where the permanence is like once you don't do something in that scenario, you can't get that back. You can't take that back. It's gone. The moment's gone forever. That's as permanent as it gets. And also, this is the most common thing, right? You can be walking down the street, and it's a scenario where if you don't take action, and there's nothing you can do, that's just life, man. Especially depending on like where you live, or just like in general. This is common. It's terribly devastating, and it's permanent. So that's an easy S tier. Next one that we're gonna do is things left unsaid. That's why we got this woman not trying to say what she really thinking to this guy who be her boss or whatever. I don't really know the context, but that's how I interpret it. And so I would say the things left unsaid. Now, if we're talking about in relationships, right? The things left unsaid can have it depends on the nature of that relationship. For example, things left unsaid with a parent or like a family member who's about to die and you never told them how you feel. Some people will never get over that. So that's the permanent aspect to that. However, some people will not really care that much. So that's why this one is subjective. That's why I don't think you can put this in S or A because this is very subjective. I would say it's somewhat common. It's not uncommon, but I would say it's not super common. So I would give this one a B tier personally because it's devastating, but I don't think it's devastating to the levels as S tier is, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in the B tier. I hope my explanation for that made sense. And then now this is the things said. The things said, I would say, is more devastating than the things unsaid. Because a lot of times, right, it's the things that you say to people is how you make them feel, And people always remember how you make them feel. That's why, like, a little bit of kindness goes a long way. Like, just a kind word to somebody can do a lot. And a rude word can do a lot. People will base their entire experience off of what you say to them in your first interaction. They also base, based off of how you look. But if for example, you think somebody's like super rude, super cruel, and then they're nice to you, you're probably gonna be surprised, but you're gonna remember that. So I would put the things said. I think it's also damaging because it's scenarios where you say the wrong thing, and it could cause some pretty bad things, I would say. But the permanence to this is like, sorry goes a very long way. It like, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. That's not true. Words can hurt you, but words can also heal you. It's really about the pride and ego of just apologizing to somebody, or just admitting that you were wrong. A lot of people can't really do that. So I'd put this honestly next to things said. I think that they're both kind of on the same level. That's what I would put this. I would put it slightly ahead, honestly, though. And then the next one is gonna be like fearing change. Regretting not adapting to change, or regretting being stuck in a narrow mindset, stuff like that. That's a C tier, maybe even a D tier. I'm gonna put that in D tier, cause like, man, I've seen some people go through life fearing change. They don't like to do things differently. They eat at the same places, they eat the same foods, they do the same things. Bro, everybody's afraid of change on some level, honestly. Like, I feel like humans are scared of change overall because we fear the unknown, right? We fear things we don't understand. So this is every human being in history fears change, has regret over it, I guess. Some of them don't really have any regret. So, I would put this in it's very common. But it's literally, that's just how it is for the majority of people, not even gonna lie. And then we'll go to financial regrets. Financial regrets, see, they could be devastating. For example, like, why were you not, manipulating the house market in 2008? Why do you not have a house? I don't care you were 10 years old. You should have 2 houses, rent one out, you live in one, like the average person. It does your age doesn't. If you weren't born back then, what are you doing? Whose fault is that? Anywho, I had to get that off my chest. Just hate people say, "Oh, I can't buy a house." Turn back time and go buy a house. It's not that hard, guys. It's really not that difficult. But anywho, so like financially and everything, right? See, financial regret. This is one where I feel like it also really depends on how much you. Well, this really only comes into play when you're in a scenario where you need that money, is what I would say. If you don't need that money, this will not be that bad. But if you need that money, or if you feel like you're not able to satisfy the lifestyle you want, then yeah, this could be higher for you. But honestly, I feel like financial regret, if it makes you homeless or poor, obviously that's a lot higher. But I feel a lot of the time it's not that level. So I'll put this in C tier, to be honest. Because it's one of those that has the potential to be very devastating. I might move this up later to B tier, but I gotta see everything else, right? And so, next one is gonna be, guess what this one is? It's about being weird, being true to yourself. The average person is not true to themselves, let's be honest. Yeah, because the average person likes to be seen as normal. They don't want to be seen as somebody who like stands out, is a little different. So the amount of regret that the average person has over that, I would say the average person probably just has some regret, feel like they're not doing what they think they want to do. They're just doing what they need to survive, to put food on the table and everything like that. Would I say this is most devastating? No. Is this common? Yes. Permanence, this isn't really permanent, to be honest. So this is kind of this might even be a D tier. D or C. I would put this in the D tier, honestly. Not saying this isn't a valid regret, but this is just not really hitting that damaging portion of it, right? And I think, and it's not really permanent either. I guess there could be like permanent like mental effects that this could have on you or something like that. But like I said, that's I don't really think that should be that highly rated. Now there's another interesting one. This is time, right? You got the hourglass here. So time, the regret of lost time. I would put this in a easy S tier. I think that lost time is permanent. You never get that time back. It can be the most devastating because a lot of people look back at their life and look at the time that they've wasted on things. It can be time wasted on an addiction, time wasted in a bad, unhealthy relationship, time wasted on something that ruined your body, mentally, physically, right? It's a lot of stuff that can be in this category. So I thought this is very encompassing. So that's why I would put time up in the S tier. Time and action, time and inaction, that's got to be easy S tiers. And then next we have regret over physically taking care of yourself, regret over your physical health. So this is like, for example, when you start reaching older ages, like late 20s, 30s, man, a lot of people don't realize, like, your body, you'll start feeling those effects soon. You think, oh, it doesn't happen to anybody. When it happens to you, you have nothing to say, right? But the thing is, physical health, I would say, is very devastating and it's very permanent, right? Because a lot of times you can't reverse those effects on your body because this is built up over years. And if you are to build it up, it's going to take years. So the permanence on that is even high as well too. So I would put that in A tier without a doubt. Physical health, physical care of your body is very important. And I think it's very devastating. I don't think it's necessarily an S tier because sometimes there's still something you can do about it. But it's also very common in the world we live in today. A lot of it has to do with the food that we eat, but that's a whole nother video. I can make a food tier list or something like that. I could do countries nutrition tier list. That'd be interesting. Let me know what you guys think below. The next one is going to be mental health. So let me just take a little pause right here. Guys, please take care of your mental health. Men especially, please take care of your mental health. Because I know that a lot of times, you don't want to be that guy talking about how you're feeling terrible, you're not feeling good, anything like that. Let me tell you something. It's okay. It's okay. Please go talk to somebody. Do not keep those demons inside, right? I know you love to watch those Sigma male, alpha male things thinking, oh, if I do this, I'll beat on my demons. You won't. I'm going to be honest. That will not help you. You need to actually not be afraid to go get some help. And I know it's hard because it's not free. It's expensive. That's why I would recommend a lot of you just start journaling, writing it down how you're feeling. But make sure if you're in an environment where it's not exactly safe to have something like that, get like a simple lock on it. Get one that has a lock or lock it up on your phone. Whatever you need to do. That's what I would say. But please take care of your mental health, guys. Even right now, if you're feeling overwhelmed, I would say, turn this off. Go do something about it. Regardless of what it is. Even if you need to take a little moment just for yourself, just for your mental, you need to take a break off from work. Whatever you got to do. Please, guys, please do it. Just had to do that little piece there right there. But yeah, I would put regret of not taking care of mental health. I think this will be a very big one later in the future. Because I think a lot of people, especially like 20th century, I think a lot of people were very miserable. And they just kind of sucked it up because that's just what it was like to be a man, just to exist, was to just be miserable. That was existence, was just to be miserable, right? And I feel like as time goes on, there will be a lot of regret for that. I think they have a lot of regret, they just don't express it. So I'll put that right next to, regret for physical health. And I think as time goes on, I believe that the mental health will become an even bigger one. Because people are noticing that the mental health has effects on the physical. It's crazy how the body works like that. Even Because the body, even stuff like placebos, has a crazy effect on the body. It's crazy. It's very interesting. But all right, next one is gonna be broken relationships. This one I would say varies from individual to individual, right? I think some people are very like good at getting over like what's called past broken relationships, stuff like that. Some people aren't good at it. Some people get stuck on it and they carry it into their future relationships, and it just becomes a part of who they are. And some people never get over it, rest of their life. It can be some girl, like I've really heard this. Dudes will like some girl in middle school, high school, and the rest of their life, they can never find a girl like her. It's crazy. This one really depends on the individual. So the most devastating criteria, I would say, it's devastating, but like, unless like y'all are like, cause you've heard the stories, people dying from heartbreak and stuff like that. Well, I mean, I'm gonna put this one in like, it's like a low B tier, I would say. I would say it's common, one of the more common ones. The permanence of it, it's not exactly like the most permanent thing as well either. Like, sometimes, people get back together. So, and then sometimes people get over it. So it's not the most permanent thing. I'm going to be honest, this is a C tier one right here. You guys are probably not going to agree with it. I think this might be the most controversial one. I feel like a lot of people will put this in like an S tier. I don't think this is S tier. I think it's like a C, B tier range right here. But hey, it is what it is. Let me know down in the comments below if you hate this decision. My bad in advance. But anywho, poor choices. That's why I put I put the doors here, because it's like, when one door closes, another opens. As they say, walk through the door, opportunity, the choices. Yeah, I like that. I've always liked that. So that's why I put the doors here. I love doors. Anywho, let's get into it. So poor choices. Poor choices. See, poor choices can lead to like everything A and below. I put poor choices in like A, because you can make poor choices to get you that broken relationship, that heartbreak. Poor choices, you speaking. Poor choices, bad health. Yeah, poor choices like an A, bordering on S tier. But I don't think. Well, yeah, I'll put it at the top of A. I don't think it breaks into S tier, because these are like concepts. Poor choices, I feel like, does not break into that concept level yet. So obviously, making poor choices is very devastating, because you lead yourself down a rabbit hole, and like it's like when you start lying, you have to keep the lie going. So you start lying even more. That's how poor choices works, right? You start out with just something light, and then you keep making bad decisions. It's also can be influenced by people you hang around. And so poor choices like picking poor friends. And when you pick poor friends, you become like them. And then you make even more poor choices. So poor choices is definitely A tier right there. High A tier. It's very common. Everybody makes poor choices in life. You're probably gonna make 10 poor choices this week. 30. Like, who knows, bro? But it's how bad the effect of these poor choices is. That's the question. So yeah, that's why I said A tier. I would definitely say that's A tier. And the next one that we're gonna go into is missed opportunities. So I got this man shaking this guy's hands, right? Because it's a potential opportunity that he missed. Like that. So missed opportunities. See, missed opportunities is not just like in a business sense, but also like a relationship sense, right? Because, a lot of times, like, dudes will be talking about, oh, man, I fumbled this girl so long ago, bro. I still think about it. Like, man, I'm realizing now that she liked me, bro. It'll be like 10 years later. Lay up late at night thinking about this. Or it'll be stuff where it's like, not getting that promotion at work because you didn't speak up more. Something like that, man. I think that's like a C tier. C tier, B tier. Because like missed opportunities is bad, but it's the regret that you have for a missed opportunity where it's like, Hmm. Thinking about this one, because missed opportunities, it, it's really depending on what your satisfaction with where you are. Because if you regret fumbling that one girl, and then you're single, it's probably a lot worse if you're in a relationship. But then that also depends on the individual, because some people will be in that new relationship and they'll still be missing that girl they fumbled. And then for like the satisfaction will be like somebody will regret not taking an opportunity at work, and they'll have a great family, they have a great life, but they just wish they had more money. But they could have the money they need. They could be living good, but they just wish they had more money or they wish they had that position because they wanted more prestige. They wanted more of a legacy, which they won't have because they didn't take that position. That's why I was thinking initially C tier. Looking this over, I feel like the regret is it's never really that devastating. I think this is common because it's like opportunity cost, sunk cost fallacy. Considering the grass is always greener on the other side, stuff like that. So I don't think this is on the level of the things said. See, I would put this in like C tier, to be honest. The regret from that. And the permanence of it. So yeah, you sometimes don't get that opportunity again. That's very true. So it's definitely it has the permanence aspect to it. Actually that's a good point. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in low B tier for that one. But then again, for financial decisions, the permanence of that, that also has that permanence, doesn't it? So if we're gonna put financial decisions like that, I don't think financial decisions, and those are kind of similar, but I just don't think financial deserves a B. See, I'll just keep that like that is. And then next one is gonna be regret taking opportunities. That's why this one says balance and burnout. So when you're burnt out, right? Let's talk about being burnt out. Because you took too many opportunities. Your family leaves you. You're not close with your family because you were spending all that time working. Even if it was just to provide for them, right? You didn't make the time for them because you were always too busy working. Your life is unhappy. But you took all those opportunities though, right? You worked hard. You made a bunch of money. I would put this pretty devastating. I think that loneliness of success is pretty bad. And a lot of people don't understand it, because a lot of people are never going to be there, in that position, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, because taking opportunities, this could also be applied to like relationships as well too. You took the opportunity to talk to somebody, became their friend, and now you regret it because this person, you wish you never talked to this person or became their friend because they're like a terrible friend. I don't know, because in those scenarios, like a lot of times, it's not really permanent. I feel like it's still something you could do about it. Like, it's hard. But like, for example, let's say you put all that time into working. It's harder, but it's not really impossible. It's definitely a lot more difficult. Let's not get it twisted, but it's not really permanent. Like, you have to go beg your family. You might have to go try a bunch, and you can't buy their love back. You have to put that time and that work in, but I feel like it's possible. So yeah, I'll go ahead. I think that belongs in the C tier, honestly. Yeah, I'll go ahead and throw that in C tier. And the comparison. Regret comparing to others. You got the smaller and the bigger one, right? I think comparison can be devastating on like somebody's mental, because they're always thinking, oh, I'm not like this person's better than me, this person. And that's comparison is the thief of joy. If you spend your whole life comparing yourself, you will never be happy. That's just the reality. So you'll live a very miserable life constantly comparing yourself. A lot of people be like, oh, but I compare myself, it helps me keep me going and stuff like that. See, that's the thing, bro. Like, why is your competition not yourself already? Like, your competition is like somebody else. What if you never beat them? Right? It's like what happens? Because the majority of the time, you're not going to. That's just real. So I feel like it's better to be focused on improving yourself than be focused on beating somebody else. Because even you think everything the other side of the spectrum. Once you beat them, what's your next goal? Beat somebody else? Don't let them beat you again. A lot of times it'll be like the toxic positivity, where people be like, "Oh, I'm not doing too well in life, but like I'm doing better than this guy, so I'm doing pretty well." Like, bro, I guess if that helps you sleep at night, it's like you compare yourself, bro. You're still a loser. Like at the end of the day, man. Like I don't understand it. I just don't think you should. You should really try to refrain from comparison. I don't think it's beneficial at any time, right? Like look towards yourself. Look internally for who you are. So go ahead. D tier for most. Actually, let me actually go through the criteria because I might even not even be a D tier. So most devastating. It can be devastating. Most common. I think everybody compares themselves. I've compared myself. Everybody does that, right? Yeah, I would definitely say that. Permanence. Permanence. I don't think this is permanent at all. It's like because that regret, you just have to stop regretting. Like you can gotta work on that. So that's a self thing. So it's not really permanent. That's what I would say. All right, on to the next one. Regrets getting an education. A lot of people nowadays regret getting an education, specifically, like the more liberal art type of degrees. A lot of people aren't even using degrees for what they initially got their major in. So I would say that regret is steadily increasing, and it's the permanence because you can't go back on that degree. You now have a good degree is still a necessity. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's a bunch of different stuff you can do, and I think the gap it's a lot smaller between people who don't have degrees and people who do have degrees. I think it's a lot smaller than people think, but I would say you kind of still have to have a degree these days. Let's be honest. But I don't think that'll be the case for very long. So the permanence, once you get the degree, you spend all that money. Obviously, you can't get that money back unless they decide to one day do that loan forgiveness. But they're not doing that, bro. I would not hold my breath. If you get lucky enough to get that, bless you. But but the majority of people, I'm not gonna lie, you gotta be real with the expectations of the future. I think it's common. A lot of people, especially nowadays when the job market is so bad, a lot of people are going through this, and it's like, oh man, I did what I was supposed to do. I took the major that they told me to do. They said it would be a guaranteed job, and there's no jobs. So I feel like it's fairly common. And then people do majors, they know they weren't gonna get any jobs, but they just did it because they're passionate about it, probably regretting that. But so I mean, they're in the same position with the person who did what they were supposed to, and they still didn't get it. So it's kind of crazy how that works. But I would say the regret level on this, devastating, not really, because you didn't. Okay, it's devastating, but you don't really have a choice. Because like, if you don't go to college, most parents are gonna beat the snot out you. So like, you didn't really have a choice in that, I would say. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, put that in like, because it's definitely, I think it's wrong with the D tier. And then not getting an education. I would say the regret of not getting an education is much worse than the regret of getting an education. I would immediately, I'm not gonna lie to you, this might even go in B. Because not getting an education, you still do have options, but it's significantly harder to break into a large majority of fields. Because at least with a degree, a lot of times you'll get filtered out if you don't even have a degree. That's why I would say like the gap is closing, but it's not there yet. Not getting education also does limit you. Like there's definitely people who have succeeded, but those people are the minority. That's the exception. So I would say the regret of that is definitely on like a B tier because it's devastating. It's not permanent, but it's hard. It's very hard. It's not the most common thing, I would say. So that's what keeps it lower. And I would honestly, put that in the C tier because it's not. Everybody kind of gets an education. Majority of people get an education these days. So I guess it's not that common. like if you can't get an education, you're very much encouraged to do it. Even if you really can't afford it, you're encouraged to get an education, because the alternative, you're not gonna have very many options, right? This is my top of B or top of C. I would put this at top of C. Yeah, top of C. Almost breaking into B. And then the regret of rejection. So let's say you tried, you got the what's it called? You got the energy to try, you got the confidence and the courage to go try, and then once you went and tried, you got rejected terribly. You got posted in the girl group chat. Let's say you got cooked at work publicly. You got yelled at. You tried, I don't know, something in your friend group, and you were basically told you don't really like you in the friend group. Yeah, not gonna lie, it's not really permanent. So I don't think it doesn't really rank highly with that. I think it's common because everybody's tried something and then they just failed. Like even embarrassment, like this is pretty much like embarrassment, right? The regret of embarrassment, but the regret of embarrassment that really sticks with you. That really won't leave you. Like people, like late night days where you just laying in bed at night trying to go to sleep, and then your brain's like, remember you did this, remember you said that, and when you asked her out and she posted you in the girl group chat, and so stuff like that, right? So I would put that, Let me look at this. I ain't gonna lie. I think that regret, bottom of C. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put that at bottom of C. Because it's kind of devastating. It's very common. It's not really permanent. Actually, man, put that in D tier. Maybe bottom. Yeah, it's like right next to comparisons. And then, yeah, I put this skull here. I don't really know why, but I did put this here. I'm gonna just make something up for this on the spot. Let's say regretting a death of someone you know, right? The death not even your fault. Just the regret of death, mortality. Nah, that's too deep for me, bro. Let me change to something like funnier. Let's say regret your Halloween costume, right? Regret what you wore for Halloween or something, right? I would put wearing a bad Halloween costume. That's an easy S tier. All right, guys, that's gonna be everything here. Thank you all for checking this out and watching this video. I know this was a long video, but I'm a yapper, not gonna lie. So once I get started, I just start talking. But thank you guys for checking this out. Let me know what you think of this tier list. I'm probably gonna make some more in the future. My next one will probably be like a rivalry tier list. When I think of the best rivalries, fiction, non-fiction, anime, manga, sci-fi, UFC, NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, whatever, ABC, LMNOP. Sorry, my bad. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Let me know what else you guys want to see. And thank you. I appreciate all you guys that watched. See you.